Here we go. Dennis Young here, Primitive Suspense Show, and special guest today, Judge Smith, and all the way from the UK, starter of Van de Graaf Generator and all types of other projects. Judge, thank you for coming on.
So nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So let's hear about your early start with music, how you got involved with music and Peter Hammill and all that.
Okay. Well, I was a regular kind of a pop fan. Listened to the top 20. This is as a teenager. Was top 20 was very important. Then I started getting more into R&B. The first Manfred Mann album was very significant for me.
Okay.
Because it was British R&B, and it sounded British. You know, they weren't obviously it's R&B, but they had a definite UK slant. And the first Bob Dylan albums and so on. Nothing special. Then I went to the States in 1967.
Okay.
You could get a 99 days for $99 unlimited Greyhound bus travel pass. So me and a friend went to the States and went around the States on the Greyhound. And we ended up quite by chance, really, in San Francisco. So that's the Flower Power 67. And we saw all the bands there. We met up with, were taken under the wing of Country Joe and the Fish. So that was very significant. I began to look at the idea of rock and roll as being some kind of art activity.
Right.
Rather than being just pop music entertainment. And I thought, well, I wouldn't mind getting a bit of that. I fancied myself as a drummer. And when I got back to the UK, I went to Manchester, where I got involved with Peter Hammill, and we started Van de Graaf Generator.
How did you get the name? Where did that come from? The name, using that name. It's very unique.
Well, I came back on the plane back. We went over, incidentally, on an Irish cargo boat because it was the cheapest way to get across the Atlantic at that time. Because we weren't officially students, because we'd left school and we hadn't gone to college. So the cheapest way we could cross the Atlantic was on a cargo boat, but we managed to get a flight back. And on the flight back, I made a list of what I thought would be cool names for a band, and one of those is Van de Graaf Generator.
Okay.
You know, Generator's a good, name for a kick-ass band. What sort of generators can I think of? Oh, Van de Graaf. I don't know what it is, but it sounds good. I've heard of it, so that went on my list.
That's funny.
And there was just a general notice put up on the notice board saying, would anybody interested in rock and roll like to go to meeting room so and so? And about 30 or 40 people turned up, and there was a bit of desultory jamming, all very poor stuff. But there was a guy sitting there strumming a guitar, sitting on the floor and singing a song, and I listened to this and I thought, oh, that's good. So I said, well, I don't know that song. It's really good. He said, oh, it's one of mine. I said, really? Have you got any more of those? He said about 30 or 40. And I thought, aha,
wow,
this guy is a good man to know. He had a lovely voice, and he also looked like a bit of a babe magnet. So I thought that was a good idea too.
Yeah.
So anyway, we became friends, and we decided to start a band.
And what kind of
So
gigs
that's
did
how it
you?
all started.
Now, who else was in the band at that time? Did you have, besides yourself and Peter? Did you have was Guy Evans in yet? Did you have a drummer?
No. We no. Well, I was supposed to be the drummer. I was
Right.
terrible. I'm the worst drummer you ever heard in your life. I'm really, really bad. But we had a keyboard player for a bit. But Peter and I did gigs, just the two of us.
Okay.
Sort of, kind of like Tyrannosaurus Rex. You remember them?
Oh yeah.
Tyrannosaurus Rex, Mark Bolan.
Right.
He started off with just two people.
Oh, okay.
We did something like that. So you get one good-looking guy strumming a guitar and singing strange songs, and some other idiot doing percussion and bits of harmony vocals and whistles and ocarinas and all that kind of stuff. So we did a few gigs like that in the local psychedelic dungeon in Manchester called the Magic Village.
Oh, okay.
And that was quite fun. We eventually made a demo tape and sent it off to London and got a record contract.
How about
Didn't seem anything remarkable at the time. We're a band, so we got a record contract. We didn't think any more about it. At that time, the psychedelic stuff was just starting to kick off, and the record companies were sort of saying, well, there's this weird music, and people are buying weird music, so we better sign some people who make weird music. And they didn't know what they were listening to. And
they gave bands a chance to develop back then their sound, as opposed to later, where if you went out one hit, that was it.
Yes, they did, because they didn't know what they wanted.
I want to show you something here. A record I have.
Right.
Look at that. You're on this.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
That's an interesting record, right?
Well, there's a picture of me.
Yes.
There's a picture of me at the top, but that's.
Oh, there it is.
I may be on one track. I don't know.
Right,
I can see it. Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, so that
it's very. I left very early. We came down to London. We left university, came down to London.
Right.
And one of the first, we did some recording. We got a keyboard player. We found Hugh Banton, who is the brother of a friend of ours at university, and we went to see him. Just a fantastic psychedelic organ player, absolutely magnificent. One of the best. So we were very, very lucky there. And we tried to do some recording. It wasn't very successful, because I said I'm the worst drummer in the world. The record company got Quincy Jones in to have a listen.
Jones.
He had some sort of connection with the company.
How about that?
Yeah, sure. And I was introduced to him as Judge Smith, and he looked down at me, and said, "How the bleep do you get a name like that, boy?"
Oh my God,
Judge! It's kind of a black name in the States.
Yeah,
it's it's a family name here. I think it's Welsh, but
okay.
So it's very intimidating. But, so the next thing that happened is I said, "No, we got to get a proper drummer." So we got a proper drummer and a bass player. But then I thought, oh, I don't have a job now.
Yeah, right.
So I was just sort of waving a tambourine and singing backing vocals, not very well. And eventually I thought, I'm a spare wheel here. I'm a fifth wheel. So I left, but on the good terms. I thought, well, I'll start another band, get another contract.
Why not, right? What the heck, right? They're signing everybody.
Yeah, which almost worked. Yeah, I know.
That's
Crazy,
funny.
isn't it? Absolutely amazing. Different world.
Oh, yeah.
Different world completely.
Well, there was that whole charisma.
So there we go. That was me. I wasn't.
So did you stay? Did you go with the band, travel with them when they did their tours? A little bit?
No, I was on the first single, and then I left just as they're about to start touring, because I thought, well, I don't want to. It's going to be embarrassing for me not to be doing anything, jumping around on stage and not really performing, because the other guys were, really. Hamill was a very fully developed songwriter. The other guys could really play.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, I started another band, and this included a saxophone player called David Jackson.
Oh, okay.
And when we broke up, I introduced him to the Van der Graaf, and he joined them.
What a perfect fit.
I've been responsible for putting that band together quite a lot, even though I haven't been part of them.
Well, you are in some way. I mean, you are part of that history. And I do have this copy too. This was a fantastic record. Aerosol Machine.
Oh yeah.
Great record.
Yeah, they were the songs that we did. With Peter as a duo. That was the sort of repertoire, and I was only just starting to want to write songs. And that's when that all kicked off for me, that I wanted to write songs. And that's what I've been doing ever since.
Have you? Then you got involved with Peter again, the Fall of the House of Usher, right?
Peter sung on a piece of mine called Curly's Airships, big double album project about the R101 airship disaster, kind of like the British Hindenburg.
Right.
And he sang on that with me, and we did the Fall of the House of Usher. We wrote together, yeah.
And then you did some. You played. Yeah, that was a really interesting record. I mean, I don't have a copy of it anymore, but I had a lot of Peter records at one time. I mean, I first heard Peter Hammill. God Bluff was the first record I ever heard from Van der Graaf, and after that, I was hooked. The voice was so unique. It just had a very unique band. And then you were involved with Narnia's Big Chance, right? Did you do something with that?
Yeah.
I love that song, The Institute of Mental Health. Great song.
Yes, I think Yes, I did. Yes, I had a song on there. And I also played some percussion at one point. It's all a long time ago, Dennis.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I've been on the edges of that a bit, but busy with my own stuff, really.
Right. So have you written? What have you done recently? Have you been writing books, or are you still writing music, or?
Well, I write music. I make records. Last one came out last year, which is I think number 17, album 17.
Wow.
Album, called Mr. McKilowatt's Dances. I've just carried on since let's have a look, about 1991.
Okay.
Because that was the first time that I could get recording equipment and sequencing equipment to enable me to make the things I wanted to make in the way I wanted to make them.
Okay.
before then, it was all too expensive. You had to use studios. I didn't have any money.
Right, of course.
And not playing. I'm not a musician. I'm a singer, and I write.
Okay.
But I don't strum a guitar. If I use a keyboard, I have to have little bits of plasticine stuck on the keys to show me where my fingers go. I have no talent as an instrumentalist at all. But I sing okay now. We were very influenced by Arthur Brown.
Oh, I remember him. Right.
You remember Arthur Brown?
Yeah, I've heard Arthur Brown.
Yes, yep. A very, very magnificent R&B singer. Absolutely incredible. And we were very influenced by him, and I became chums with him later on in life, and had singing lessons and so on from him. So the singing's okay, but it wasn't until the 1990s that I could get the equipment to enable me to do my own work. And so that's been the digital revolution has been very good for me.
That's good.
And so I've been able to go from one project to another project to the next project to the next project, because I was 40 years old before I had a record out.
Okay.
And by that time in life, you know what you want to do, and you think you better get on with it, you know.
And then
and before then, I was writing for the stage.
Oh, for the stage, okay.
And
that Song Story, what was that about?
For the stage. The stage.
Okay.
I was. Oh well, yeah. That's my take on writing a long piece of narrative rock music.
Oh, okay.
You know, coming from where we came from, having a long song is a very basic idea. You don't want to do 3-minute songs, you want to do long pieces. And how to do that is a difficult problem. And I've cracked it my own particular way. And so it's one person telling a story in music, with occasional people chipping in and singing stuff. And I work a lot with a wonderful guitar player called John Ellis, who was
I've heard of him.
Played with the Stranglers for many years, and was one of the early punk guitarists in the UK. I've worked with him for a long time, and I said, well, what is this thing? And he said, I'll call it a song story. So I call them song stories. I've done let's see, 3, 4 now. The final quite short one is called The Overstayer, which is about an illegal immigrant to our country, and that's in production at the moment with
it is. Okay.
David Jackson and his daughter Dory, who's a wonderful folk rock vocalist, wonderful singer, and so it's them and an organist called Robert Pettigrew.
Everything you do is on Bandcamp?
I quite like it. It's good. Yeah, and CDs. I sell CDs.
Oh, okay.
All my work is available on CDs. There have been a few things on vinyl, but you know, the whole catalog is there available on CDs from my website.
Oh, that's great.
Which most of the people who like my stuff like CDs. They like the physical, you know.
Right, exactly.
The physical thing.
I agree.
Not just a file.
Right.
So judgesmith.com
okay.
Will find me anywhere, you know, all the search engines, Judge Smith, I'll pop up there.
Everything.
There is in fact an American band called Judge Smith.
Oh, is there?
But I'm
Never
the original.
know that.
Yeah, there is. a guy. Well, it's either a band or a drummer. Pretty good. He's called Judge Smith. But so am I.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You are. You're the original Judge Smith. The
that's
Judge
my real
Smith.
name. That's my real name. What?
That you're the real Judge
it's
Smith.
my real name too, Dennis. It's not made up.
Yeah. That's great. Do some people think that's made up, or they say, "Oh, that's a made up name"? You're trying to be something you're not.
Yes, they do. They do. But if you're called Smith, what are you going to do? You want to do music. It's just as well if you've got an unusual first name. This is a good idea. Good idea to use it. So
what do you think of current music out now? The current trend of bands and music, AI coming out.
Well, I don't know nothing about. I haven't. I don't know what AI composed music sounds like, so I haven't done any research on that. If it's good, then we're dead.
That's it.
We're finished.
I think there's too much music out there now.
That
too much homemade music.
Oh yes, for sure.
Too much.
It's easy to do.
Right.
It's easy to do. You can, buy, particularly EDM type music is so easy to do and so quick and simple. But I'm a songwriter. I do quite complicated stuff. So
right.
What I like now, well, we just went. I've always been a fan of a British band called Oyster Band, who've just done their final tour. So I went to see them a few nights ago, which are folk rock. Not what I do at all, but I'm very fond of them. I like some, there's some hip hop stuff is quite interesting. Some of the backing tracks, some of the grooves are pretty interesting. But no, frankly, I'm not a Taylor Swift fan.
No, I'm not
like
either.
Really.
It's just
I like older
stuff. I like extraordinary music. That's what drew me to Bobby.
I don't mind commercial stuff as long as it's good,
Right, exactly. And there's good in all types of music. You just have to find it, especially nowadays. I mean, if you go into Bandcamp, there is so much stuff. It's and who's got time to try to sift through all this? And then I think a lot of kids these days don't have a short attention span that are not really into music. They'll have something on for a minute or 30 seconds, and that's not good. Next song. So it makes it tough.
And I like longer stuff. I'm very lucky that this next year, it looks as if there will be a live concert performance of my Requiem Mass, which is a big piece for rock band, 4 trumpets, 4 trombones, orchestral percussion, and a big choir, and a baritone soloist. It's one of my biggest pieces.
Well, and you wrote all the parts to this? You wrote all the parts?
Obviously, it's out on CD. Parts, right? It's out. You can get it on Bandcamp. I wrote it.
You wrote all the parts, right?
It's a Requiem Mass.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's I mean, I work with orchestrators and arrangers on the brass, voicings, and the choir, of course, but no, it is my work. But so that's going to be exciting if that comes off. So
that's going to be great
next summer.
Okay.
So there are things happening. Yeah, that will be big because it's a big thing. Hundreds, couple of hundred, 250 people involved with the performance. So
wow,
it'll be big.
We'll have to touch base again when that comes out. I really want to hear about that.
Yeah.
Because I think the viewers will really want
I've been very lucky to great, good. Well, I'll let you know once we've got hopefully getting confirmation that this is on the 21st of this month. So I keep my fingers crossed here. You know?
I hope. So
I keep busy. I keep busy.
That's what's great. That keeps you alive and keeps you young
I keep
at heart,
going.
right?
Yeah. Yes, Dennis.
Even though our bodies get old,
I guess,
our minds
yes,
still
it
young.
does.
You know, our minds still are young to create. That's the main thing. You know.
I hope so, Dennis.
You keep
I hope
going
so.
for sure.
But anyway, congratulations on all the interviews you've done.
Thank you. Yeah, this has been quite an amazing project.
All the interviews you've done.
I started this, on a whim.
Yeah.
I really didn't think I'd be doing more than a couple of them, and then all of a sudden started snowballing into all these great people that I know, and now I'm getting, some bigger stars to do it, which has been sometimes nerve-wracking too.
That's very, very good.
Yeah, and I try to keep it.
Yeah, I'll say the technology. Technology is not perfect.
No, but I don't want to make it a big fancy show. In the background with all this stuff.
Yeah,
I want to keep it like a conversation, like we're having here with everybody, and that's, I think, the way to do it.
Yeah.
So, well, Judge, it's been a pleasure.
Oh, I got my phone ringing.
Doing this.
Yeah, it's nice to talk to you too, Dennis.
You too.
That's been of use to you.
Yes, it's been a pleasure, and let's touch base again when your big project is out, and I'll put everything on your website, everything on your.
My phone ringing. That's the noise you can hear.
That's okay.
So
take care now. Have a great night now. Take care.
Bye for now, then.
Bye bye,
Bye bye. Salam, everybody. Bye bye.
Great meeting you. Take care now. Bye bye.